I'm Carsten Wolff from Dortmund University of Applied Sciences and Arts in Dortmund. Also, same as Peter, a longtime partner of Galina in different projects, in different teaching activities, and so on. I'm honorary professor also in Zaporizhzhia, and I'm very happy to be part of this virtual international week. I'm feel very sorry that I cannot come in person. So hopefully next year we will be able again to see each other in person. And I'm coming from a university institute on digital transformation. And for us, apart from the technical aspects of digital transformation, we are dealing with IoT systems, with software development, with embedded systems, cloud-based systems, and so on. But in addition, we are also very much interested in how to commercialize this in products or in companies, in startup companies. And Galina asked me to talk a bit about innovation and entrepreneurship, and to give some case studies that we have done here in Dortmund, examples of companies with different approaches. And I'm also a professor in the area of project management. So I believe that we should treat innovation and entrepreneurship like projects. So meaning we should organize the innovation process using projects and, of course, also using digitalization. So I will talk about, first of all, what is an innovation? When is something that you have in your mind a possible innovation? Because there is differences between an idea and the product that you can sell. And in between, there's a question, when does it become an innovation? And the other thing is, if you have an innovation, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are setting up a company or a business. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, a startup entrepreneur, then it's a question, when is it a company or a business? And what type of company business is it if you are starting to become an entrepreneur? And then after clarifying these two things, what is an innovation and what is a potential startup company, I want to talk about, the projectized world, how we are doing this with projects, and how does it lead to the idea of a lean startup. Because if you want to become an entrepreneur with an innovation, you can be very happy to be in Silicon Valley and get a huge pot of money and build a huge company right from the beginning. But in most cases, you are starting very lean. You don't have much money, and you still want to make an interesting innovation or a good innovation and get a good startup company up and running. And then I have 3 case studies that I would like to talk about. I have an example of a industry university cluster. So that is approach how universities and industry can work together to generate startup companies and new businesses. And a bit of information about what we are doing in Dortmund, what we are doing together with Zaporizhzhia, and what we are doing together with Galina. So that will be also part of the presentation. Okay, so first of all, if you're talking about innovation, there is in many cases an idea. Yeah? Somebody has an idea and invents something new. That is called an invention. Yeah? Like somebody invented a technical thing, a touch display. Yeah? That was like 20 years ago. It didn't exist, and now it exists. So somebody invented it. But the touch display is a technical invention. It is not something that can be turned immediately into a business. And then obviously somebody else took this invention and wrapped it into a smartphone and launched the iPhone, which was a fantastic business success. Yeah. And in between, something happens. Yeah. So in between, from this invention, somebody takes the invention and generates an innovation out of it. And then, if it is becoming an innovation, it is time to develop it into a product and into a business. And these are all different steps. This is quite important because many people think, okay, I have a great idea and that's enough. And they are surprised that it never turns into revenue and into business. So there's steps in between. For this iPhone, from my own experience, I can say that I was beginning of the 2000s, I was working in semiconductor industry, and we were asked to develop the communication processor for the iPhone, so the cellular network processor that is doing the connection to the internet. And at that time, I was recommending that we are not doing this because I thought that smartphones will never be a success. I still don't understand why people buy smartphones. But by that time, I was recommending my company not to do this product because I was saying it will probably not be a business success. For my apologies, I have to say that previously smartphones were not a business success. And obviously my company still did it and developed this chip. And then we were having a good business even until iPhone 4. We were part of this iPhone, which was a great success and changed the market. And you can see what happens then. Yes, this is not recent data anymore. It was the iPhone sales after until 2015. And people divide history now into the pre-iPhone time and into the post-iPhone time. So you see that an innovation can really change something. But still, so we have these inventions that were used in the iPhone, technical inventions like a touch display, like an app store, some other things. It was actually not too many. Yeah? And then somebody like Steve Jobs said, okay, we are doing an innovative product out of it. Yeah? And they developed these prototypes of the iPhone until he was happy with this and until he was saying, I believe that it can be a market success. But then this was not enough. The iPhone itself wouldn't have sold to anybody. There was an ecosystem that was around it. Yeah? So iPhone became only successful because there were tariffs or contracts available with unlimited internet usage. There was an ecosystem where you can download apps and customize your phone. There was a software ecosystem around it, and Apple also built up a supply chain that can supply this. So you might know that Apple is not producing the iPhones; they are having a company producing it in China, Foxconn, who have built up all these production capacities. Usually, an iPhone doesn't even hit the storage house of Apple. It is directly shipped to the customers from the factory, so they don't even have to get it into their hand. And building all this is called the industrialization and commercialization of an innovation. Yeah, so that is also a big effort. You have to build a sales team, you have to build a supply chain, you have to build all the logistics around it. You have to do the investment for the production or find a production partner who is confident that your product will be successful and is producing it. So this whole chain is turning an invention into a product and into a business. That takes time and a lot of work. So Albert Einstein said that innovation is something like 5% is inspiration and 95% is transpiration. Meaning you have to sweat a lot to do just a lot of work to make it successful. And I have here a process that we developed for our research institute to think about how to structure the innovation process. So there is an element that is important if you are coming with an invention or innovation and you want to market it, then quite often it is just the wrong time. If you go back to the Apple example, Apple was launching a product called the Apple Newton in the 1990s. Apple Newton was similar like a smartphone, less good technology, of course. And it was way too early in the market. There was no data transmission via mobile communication networks at that time. So no internet was available. And Apple almost killed the company by doing this. So they finally fired the CEO at this time because this Apple Newton never became a success. And Steve Jobs, when he rejoined the company, he kicked out this CEO who wanted to make the Apple Newton. Yeah? And 10 years later, the market was there and the technologies were there. So you have to look at the trends. If you come up with an innovation or an invention, then it has to hit the right window in the development of trends. And therefore, you need to be aware of the trends. launch the right product for this trend. And organizations who want to do this, they have a tool called the Trend Radar, where they're deciding when is a topic or a trend ripe, when is it mature enough so that you are going on this. And then it is a question, are you very early or are you more or less late, a follower? That depends if you have competition, yes or no, something like this. So there is in this innovation process, there's a question when to jump on a trend. And then there is an innovation funnel or an innovation pipeline where you are refining this idea to make it from an idea, from an invention into an innovation. Yeah? So that is a project normally where you are answering the question, what is necessary to make this an innovative product. And then you have to develop, industrialize and commercialize it. And that is also done by projects. So you have a project pipeline where you have all these projects in. In our research institutes, this looks a bit like we have certain areas like mobility, energy, health, sector, security that we are observing, what are relevant technology trends for us. And then you are identifying this, like this bubble number one. You say, okay, there's something coming up. And this is not yet mature. So it is somewhere remotely related to our scope, but it is not in the scope yet. And step by step, it is moving to the scope. Times are changing. We have more experience in this area. The demand is changing, something like this. So this topic is slowly moving here to the bullseye of this radar. And you can have decision gates where you are deciding what to do. Yeah, because at a certain step you need to invest effort. You need to look into this thing. You need to prepare for it. You need to build competence. Things like this. So here, these rings here are like decision gates where you are saying, okay, we move this topic from the outer ring to the inner ring based on a decision, where we are saying, okay, this is relevant for us. This is interesting. We have now competences on board. It is maybe the market is ripe enough to be interesting for us. Maybe we are targeting a specific country where this is now becoming a topic. Legal environment is changing, something like this. And therefore, so for example, for the Apple iPhone, it was very important that mobile network providers were willing to provide a data tariff where you can provide data transmission or can buy data transmission. And Apple was right from the beginning insisting that it is a flat rate tariff. Everybody is used to this now, but previously you were paying by the kilobyte or megabyte, which was very expensive for data transmission. So this change in policy was enabling the trend to do a smartphone. And then you have, if you are innovative company or an innovative group, you don't want to have just one idea. You are creating ideas all the time. And you have to find out when do they turn into something that you want to develop into a business. So you have a kind of a pipeline, or it's called an innovation funnel, where you are deciding step by step, is this now becoming a product? So you have a new idea that is maybe in your trend radar now in the middle, in the center of your interest. And then you find out, do you have the right people in the consortium? Do you have the right partners for this? Yeah? Do you have the resources on board? Yeah? Do you have the right competences, the right team, and so on? Do you have the funding to do this, to develop this? So you are developing a business plan and also a project plan where you are saying, okay, this is the money that I need to invest to make this successful. And step by step, you are deciding to move on with this. And there will be ideas that are green, that are moving on. There will be ideas where you find out, okay, we don't have the right resources. We don't have the competence. It's not our project. And then it's dropping out of this funnel. And other ideas are maybe on hold because there's something missing. So they are yellow here. And step by step, this is selecting let's say, the projects or ideas which are relevant for you and which you can do. Yeah? And then, if you turn it into a business idea, the business view comes into play. And some of you might know this. This became very popular in the last years. This is a business model canvas, and the business model canvas helps you to structure your business idea. So you have here in the middle, you have the value proposition. So where you are describing what value does your product or your innovation deliver. Yeah? So it is the main question is what value do you deliver to the customer? And what problem are you solving with this? And so there's a number of questions that you are answering here, and here you're describing your innovation, your product. And from this point, you are then checking the input side, what do you need to do it, and the output side, where do you deliver it. So for this product, you can check what are the customers here that you have, the customer segments, and what is your relation to them. So how do you get in touch with them? Do you have a chance to build a relation with them? So if there's customers out in the market, but you have no chance to get in touch with them, then it is a big problem. So this is the customer side for this product. And then you have the channels here. This is how you bring your product to the customer. Coming back to the example of Apple, they did this app store, for example, where you can download applications. They have something for music, for music streaming. And these are channels for the distribution, and you have also channels for information for how you're reaching your customer. So you are analyzing the customer side here, And if you have analyzed the customer side and you know your product, then you can analyze how much revenue you will generate. So what is the customer paying for it? How much will you ship on which channel to which customer? And then you know what will be your revenue, what will be the income of this business. And then you have here the other side, that is the input side. So there's activities that you need to do to make this product or innovation happen. And there's resources that you need for this, like staff or like investment money, something like this. And there's partners that you need to build the supply chain for this, to make this product happen. So you are analyzing the input side here. And the input side gives you the information to calculate the cost of the product, because you know what you need, what resources you need, you know what product you are doing. And so based on this, on one page, you can get a complete analysis of an innovation. And also if it is profitable, because if you deduct the cost from the revenue, you know if it is profitable, yes or no. And you have also like a plan what you need to do to make it happen. And there is, if you are talking about students or research from the university who are doing innovations, I want to go back a bit, because the typical thing that is happening is you are getting stuck here. And if I see at a university how innovation is generated, then the researchers or the students are working for a very long time on improving their invention. They make the invention better. They say, oh, this touch display is not perfect, we can make it better. And they're working on this again and again and improve it. And if they get, for example, money for it, seed funding to generate a company, they invest all the money to improve this invention. But this invention is just one step. And then the money, the funding ends, and they find out that they never moved here to the product. They are still stuck here in the business model canvas, and they never thought about this or even this here. Maybe they thought about this, but they don't have customers, so there's no revenue. And then the idea dies because people forgot to go all the way through this pipeline. And if you are analyzing this, the focus can shift. You have an idea and you think, okay, this is something good for setting up a business. This is something good for an innovation. But you should always be aware that in the other boxes, there's also potential things. So if you assume that your idea was a smartphone, you want to develop a better smartphone, better digital product. And while analyzing it, you find out maybe the competition is too high. Or maybe you cannot have the resources for this. But then you can see that in the other boxes here, there's also business. So one of the key activities that you would have needed for the smartphone would be the software development. And you could shift the focus of your business model canvas here to the software development and say, okay, why do I not set up a company that is doing software development for smartphones? Something like this. Or why you find out that you need a specific supply chain for this with a specific way how to manage it. Yeah? So, and then you decide your business will be supplying Office IT ERP systems for such kind of businesses. Yeah? Or you found out that there's a big challenge in the customer relationship if you want to sell it. So you are deciding, okay, my market or my product would be an online marketing agency for this. Yeah. For this type of business. So there is usually, if you believe, so the situation is that you have analyzed the trend, you have decided that it's the right time to launch something like this, but you found out that you cannot do the product by yourself. The product is not what you could do. And then you can shift the focus of your canvas to something that is in the surroundings of this innovation. And that can be still a good business. Also experience from my side. So we have, in many cases, we have students or PhD students who have a very good idea and believe, okay, that could be my business idea. And they are developing this product that they want to market. Yeah? And they're developing it. It drags on. They don't sell anything because there's maybe no market, no customers, whatever. But with the competences that they gained through doing this, yeah, they could also offer, let's say, something like this software development here. And the software development, if they offer it to customers, they are paid by the hour. Yeah? They don't need to deliver a final product, but they are paid for their work. Yeah? And this could be a stream of revenue that can keep their company alive while their product is not yet taking off. Yeah? And then they need to decide, okay, we donate maybe 50% of our time on the further development of our product because we believe it will be a success. And the other 50%, we are selling our working time to customers and develop software for them. And that can keep the whole thing alive until they get revenue from the product. On the other hand, it is also distracting them from the product. And so there's a certain risk in this. So what I would like to say with this, you need, if you are at the point where you are thinking about setting up a business, a company, you need to think about what is your hotspot, what is the area that you want to focus on. And you should also have some of the surrounding areas on your screen to understand and find out if there's maybe a sideline business idea, an additional business idea, something like this. It is very typical that finally, a startup company is not doing exactly the product that they were planning in the beginning, and that they are not exactly addressing that market, but that this focus shifts, which is more than justified. Another thing that I would like to mention, which is quite important if you are developing your idea of setting up a business or a startup, is this aspect of keeping it lean. There was a very famous book, The Lean Startup, which describes how successful businesses can emerge today. And they have some very important ideas behind it that can help a startup business to avoid getting trapped in a certain situation where it is not becoming successful. So they are also talking about the vision that you have, where you are thinking, okay, that could be your startup's destination. But then they recommend that you are getting into this steering phase where you have this build, measure, learn feedback loop, and where you are refining and also shifting the focus of your idea. Yeah? Meaning they recommend, okay, you can have a vision, but this vision will probably change. Yeah? And they recommend that you are very fast, that you are building prototypes or first versions of your innovation, that you are testing it in the market, measuring if it is good or not, if it is accepted, that you are analyzing the results that you get from this, you are learning where you have to shift your focus, and then you build the next one. The idea is that this build phase is only generating a very limited version of your innovation. It's called the minimum viable product, the MVP. Minimum viable product means it is something that somebody could find interesting, that somebody could use already, that maybe can already be sold, but it is not having all the features you were thinking about in your vision. It has the minimum set. You are saying, okay, this is the earliest and most simple version of my innovation that I can generate. And then you generate it, you build it, and you give it to people and see what they are doing with this. If they're accepting it, you are testing it. And then you will see very early in the development phase if this is hitting the market, if this is the right thing, or if you need to change it, because hopefully customers will give you feedback. There's another idea behind this. If you have a very innovative idea, then it doesn't make sense to ask the customer what they want, because the customer may not know yet that something like this could exist. So nobody would have told Steve Jobs that a smartphone is needed, that they want a smartphone. They might have said, okay, we want to have a mobile phone with better features, or something like this, or we want to have a computer that is more nice to be used, or something like this. But they wouldn't have said, okay, we need exactly this innovation. So you need to show it to the people that something like this is possible, and then you need to see if people are accepting it. And this build, measure, learn cycle, that should be very fast. We are not talking about half a year or a year, but we are talking about weeks, maybe a few months or something like this, that you are bringing up something, testing it, see if it fails or if it fits, and then you are improving it and you are moving to the next version of it. And if you have something that is potentially selling, that is a good product, then you are moving on. Then you are moving on to the accelerate phase, because then you need to get this engine started that is producing it and bringing it to the customer. And then you have something that will sell. And then your challenge is how to bring it to the customer, how to produce it, how to build the supply chain, and so on there. And that means that you are getting the business really started. And this idea, this lean startup idea, is very much used or applied for bringing up new innovations. And I would like to talk about a few examples that we are setting up here from our institute in Dortmund. So we have here an example of a company called Smart Mechatronics that is offering engineering services. They are developing technical products, embedded systems, engineering products, mechatronic products. And that was founded in 2008 out of our university with me as a co-founder. And it has now something like 80 employees. That's a reasonable revenue, something like this. And the business idea behind this was that we have a certain competence that is needed in the market for product development. It was mainly this model-based development. We can do this. Other companies don't have this competence. So we are selling our working time. We are saying, okay, we are working for you. We are developing something like this. And we are not the people who will sell the final product. We are doing this for other companies who will sell the final product. But we are just offering the capacity to develop it. And so it is a work time based business. And if you go back to this canvas, it would be something that is typically here in this area. So where you're offering services that help to bring this product here to life. And it is obviously a good business, and it is a reasonable company. It is not the typical startup where you have a brilliant product idea that everybody says, okay, this product is needed by the market. Please bring it up to life. But it is let's say, a bit less fancy. It is a business where we are saying, okay, we have a competence. We can do something for you that you cannot do by yourself. And we offer this in the market. Okay. Then there's another type of company that is developing and manufacturing embedded systems for industry. So the customers are industry companies. And this company is doing the development, the engineering, and also the production of it. And the main business is the company gets paid by the number of shipped products, embedded systems that they are shipping to companies who put it into, let's say, into air conditioning system, or that put it into an industry automation system, or that put it into a smart home system, something like this. These are typical markets that are served. And so it is not a final product. It is, let's say, a product that is needed for the final product, a supply element. And the revenue and the business is based on the volume that is produced. This business is also based on certain competences, on certain capabilities. It is also based on the available production technology and on the capacity for production. It is innovative because the production technology and also the technical capabilities, competences need to be innovative. Otherwise, customers only buying this product if they cannot do it by themselves. But it is different from the first one. So the first one was selling work time, meaning the investment for this one is not really high. You need to hire staff, of course, competent staff, but as soon as you have it, hopefully you have already revenue. While this one has investment because you need to invest into a production line, you need to invest into machines and so on, and only then you can ship something. And so by nature, the business is different. But here you have, on the other hand, if you have a successful product that is bought by the customers that they need, then this is scaling. That is an effect in the business. So an element in your business idea. How does it scale if you are increasing the volume? So if the volume is growing, is then your complexity and your effort also growing in the same way? Or does a growing capacity, a growing volume mean that you have much more profit? And here, if you have the capacity also needs investment to increase the capacity. But in general, if you have this once, then a product that is having a bigger volume will increase your profitability more or less automatically because the customers are just buying more of the same product. While here, if it is work time based, it is not scaling because the customers are not, if you develop something, they will not ask for the same development a second time or a third time. They want it one time, and it is scaling only with the number of employees that you have. So these are typical ones. I have another example that is energy production and new technology in energy production, also something that we launched. And this has almost no staff, but it has a high investment. And it is the revenue is coming from selling electricity and heat. So it is more or less automatic. If you have once invested it and it is working, then the revenue is coming, even with only having this 1 or 2 employees. It's also a type of company that you can do. I think these are all 3 examples are not the traditional startup ideas that people have, but they are startups or companies that you can set up, and that shows the range of different types of let's say startup or business ideas. For universities, there is certain elements that they can support in this. So we have now seen how this innovation process works. And as a university, we in Dortmund, we formed an industry university cluster called Ruhr Valley. And the goal was to first of all to bring innovations into the industry. And what are we doing for this? So we want to build these value chains. So the networks of companies, here in this case, small and mid-sized companies, that makes this product successful. And that means we need a good idea. And then for this good idea, we need to bring the right people together who are developing this and making this a product. We need to do certain projects where you are developing the parts that are needed for this and where you are setting up the right production and so on. And then we need to establish this network of partners that is making the product happen. The idea is that a successful product is not launched by just one company, but that you need a network of partners, a supply chain or a cooperation network of partners who are complementing the different competences that are needed. And the job of the university is to support, to facilitate this, to bring the right partners together, research partners from university and company partners, make them develop products and innovations by doing projects. And these projects do not just generate the innovation, they also generate the network, because the people who were doing the product, they are later on also doing the industrialization and the production and marketing of this product. So they are used to each other, they are trained to do this. And this is something that that is picking off. We are doing this in the area of metropolitan energy and mobility systems. So meanwhile, there's more than 20 spin-off companies that are coming out of this. This is a number of logos. You see this is Smart Mechatronics that I showed is also there, but also a number of other companies with different business models. This one, for example, is customizing and developing IoT systems. This is a company that is supporting software development. This is a security company for IT security. This is a company that is testing automotive batteries from automotive car companies and so on. So there's a lot of different businesses in this ecosystem, and the companies are getting used to work with each other, so they can bring up new innovations by combining the competences that they have in the different companies, and then they can also grow their business. Okay, this was my first part, talking a bit about the innovation process and how innovation can be generated. I hope that was interesting. We are running a partnership of European universities where Zaporizhzhia is also associated together with some other Ukrainian partner universities. And you can find information about this on this webpage here. I will later on give the slides to Galina, Go Study Europe, which is where we are showing our activities. And we have a number of events or activities that you can join as a student and where you can participate. And we are also in the lucky situation that we have some funding to support this. So one important element here in Dortmund is the Dortmund International Research Conference and Summer School. We hope after having a pure online version this year, that next year we might be able to do it again in reality, so that people are coming here. So it will be in the last week of June and in the first week of July. The International Research Conference, there you can present as a master or PhD student, you can present papers about your ideas. And in the summer school, we offer a range of workshops on different topics. There is this summer school, this 1 week events. We have more of this. So we have another one in May. I'm doubting a bit that this will really happen face to face. Maybe it will be online. There's in September something planned in KU Leuven. You have just seen Peter Arras presenting. So they also have such activities. And there's also something in winter happening in Dortmund. This industry university cluster you can find here. It is affiliated with a master school. We have a number of master programs. And I have put here a name, Anna, who is a contact person whom you can mail to if you want more information. And I would also like to take the opportunity to show another joint project between our universities. I think Galina showed already in the beginning our upcoming Erasmus Plus project, but we have also this one, a DAD cooperation, which is intention is to jointly develop teaching modules in the area of data science and to build up an infrastructure for this. So this is a typical thing how we cooperate with the universities. So the participating universities, it's Dortmund University of Applied Sciences, it's Kiev National University of Construction, it is the Ternopil National University of Economics, and it is National University Zaporizhzhia Polytechnic. So these 4 partners are contributing to it. And the idea is that they are developing master project modules as e-learning modules. And with the e-learning modules, then we can teach it at the different universities, and we can also teach it cross-border, meaning students from different universities can participate either in reality by coming to a summer school or in online. And so therefore the goal is to develop these teaching modules, to set up a joint IT environment, an IT platform. So we are setting up servers in all the universities where we can put the modules on data science. We are doing pilot teaching 4 times a year where we are teaching these modules and trying it out. And we are also having modules for teachers to familiarize with this. And we want to build a community of researchers and active users around this. And the scope is to look at data science from different angles. from the computer science aspect here, where we are saying, okay, machine learning, software development, these are relevant areas in the area of data science. Also from the statistical, mathematical point of view, to have modules on the right mathematics behind this. And also from a business point of view, where we are saying, okay, how can you use data analytics in the area of business analytics and so on. And the different universities have more or less areas where they are focusing on, overlapping, but areas. So like in Zaporizhzhia, the topic. So I just explained where the universities are focusing on in this WiMAX project. And then we have here an overview about the digital environment that we are doing. So each university will have own server infrastructure, and we want to replicate the different modules to the different universities. So students, no matter where they are, can access these modules at their home university and can participate in this joint activity. So this is right now happening. Natalia is also online, who is working on this infrastructure. And if you want to have more information about this, then please address Galina, Natalia, the other people who are working on this. So this was my presentation, and I would be open to questions if you have questions.